Imposter syndrome and real estate. Yeah, I get it. It's real. I got you. And so to build a bulletproof real estate business, you must first have a bulletproof mindset. It all starts in here. This can control every single thing. Now, if you don't know me, my name is Trey Wesley. I generated over 120 million viewers. I've gotten 200 plus brand collaborations. I've done over 6 figures in revenue sales for small online businesses. And I get about 20 plus leads every single month on a page that I barely even post on. With that being said, let's get into it. We must first understand what imposter syndrome is, right? So I'll pull this from the Good Psychology Today staff, right? People who struggle with imposter syndrome believe that they are undeserving of their achievements and the high esteem in which they are, and in fact, generally held. They feel that they aren't as competent or intelligent as others may think, and that soon enough, people will discover the truth about them. So how does that relate to real estate agents actually posting online and trying to be something of themselves when it comes to social media? Let's say it's easy to get a good video that does extremely well and you actually get something from it. And for you to not get anything from that ever again, because maybe you just lucked out or something. Maybe it was a good day for the algorithm. And then you feel like you yourself aren't even good enough to keep on doing this because you see other people hitting it on the nail every single time, it seems like. And so eventually you just stop, you psych yourself out that you're not good enough, or that other people are more deserving because they're doing more or simply doing better. Doesn't matter what the case is, but that is the point, that you don't feel like you're worthy enough to keep on going and that you can get something from this consistently. And you almost feel bad for yourself at some point for getting that one video that popped off and did well. And we're about to fix that. So first thing is you have to understand exactly where you are as a person, where you are in your business, where you are as a real estate agent. And most importantly, understand that it's all mental, which we're about to get into in a second. After you understand, you have to operate within that realm. You can't just understand something and then not implement it knowing that you understand it. Like, it doesn't work like that. So you have to actually operate in your understanding. And after that, it's just a matter of repeating. You repeat the cycle and guess what happens? You get that money. So let's get into it. So first things first, you got to realize that you're all on the same playing field online, right? And it all comes down to the 3 P's: perception, personality, and presentation. Here's the playing field right here. Why is it that y'all are all on the same playing field online, specifically online? It's not the real world where you go out and you got to compete for your business, shake more hands, meet more people. No. Online is like a matter of who's better at marketing themselves, who's better at perception, personality, and presentation. It doesn't matter if a person has 100,000 followers and you only have 5 followers. If you can find a way to perceive yourself as the most valuable, as the most helpful, and they actually like your personality and your presentation, guess what? You'll lap over them in no time. So to potential clients, you all do the same thing, right? And you can provide them the same value. So here's the line that they draw in between all of y'all. It's you right here on top, the line right here, and then on the bottom is the next guy or the next girl. And that line, what that line represents is perceived value plus entertainment. So if they're looking at you and the next guy as the same person, what exactly is that separator between you two? What makes you different? What makes them want to choose you in the first place? Well, that's perceived value for one. How well can you hop online and actually position yourself to be the authority in your niche? Or how much information and transformation can you give that person in order for them to want to keep on coming to you? Or better yet, in this case, keep on watching you until they're ready to buy, sell, or rent, whatever the case may be. And on top of all that value that you're so giving everybody else, more than everybody else, how well are you able to entertain them? And I'm not talking about entertainment in the form of you have to dance around and, make jokes. No, I'm talking about how good are you at keeping their attention? For one, getting their attention, but also keeping it in order for them to like you as a person, to trust you. Once you are able to reel them in and actually keep them in your circle of people that they watch, that's their entertainment at that point. And so that means the next guy or everybody else isn't doing that as well as you are. So it's all about perception. Even if they're doing more volume or having a different approach to it, it's what you do and how you do it, how they perceive your value in entertainment, and ultimately how you position yourself, which is the line that they'll draw between all of you. You all do the same thing and can provide the same service. So that is the line that's drawn in order for them to pick you over somebody else. So from that line comes the showing of personality and presentation. So here's a little graph that I drew up. Here's a little timeline of how it goes. The more personality that you show, the more people look at you as human. The more human you become, the better they resonate. And from that, the better you're able to get them to resonate, then the more warmed up leads hit your DMs. And that builds belief that it's possible. And that's all a matter of personality and presentation. Let's break that down for a second though. The more personality that you show, then the more people will look at you as human. So the problem is a lot of real estate agents nowadays are pretty much walking transactions. I'm sure if you've watched me for a while, you've heard me say that term over and over again, but that's just the way it is. And it's probably never going to change amongst most realtors. They're going to be always looked at as walking transactions. That's how normal, regular, everyday people look at realtors, especially online. Since realtors hop online and try to sell themselves or sell the product, it's way easier for every normal day people to look at them as another commercial. or just another walking ad. So in order to kind of switch their mindset about this, you have to switch your mindset about this. And how do you do that? Well, that's to be yourself as much as you can while still being able to do your job at the highest level. And so once you start to do that, then people will start looking at you as a human and not a transaction. That's just the way it is, right? And the more human that you become, the better that they resonate with you, because you are like a human to human. No longer is it a salesperson to a customer. No, it's just another being to another being. And if you can get somebody to resonate with you and your content online, this is all online, by the way. This is no in-person talk. If you're able to actually convert their mind over to that's a salesperson to that's a human through a video on social media, then I guarantee the more that you're able to do that, the more warmed up leads will hit your DMs. I don't know about you, but I absolutely can't stand cold leads in my DMs. They aren't serious. They usually leave you before you even get to the point where you want to get to. And most of all, they don't know you. So that means they don't like you. They don't trust you. And you're just, nothing to them. Like, it kind of sucks. Like, it kind of sucks being nothing to somebody and all they want is information and not your actual help. Your help. Like you as a person. So that's the cycle that happens. And that's the cycle that builds the belief that this is actually possible, right? So belief plus confidence equals a scalable brand. And to scale comes in presentation. How are you able to present? Like, how well are you able to present all this value, entertainment, personality? Is all about the presentation at this point. So let's get into it. How you present yourself and your idea within your videos is the difference between zero brand growth and exponential brand growth. Look at this. As we speak, I'm getting more freaking people wanting to work with me just for making free content. All these brand collaborations, that's what happens when you're actually good at making content. People want to work with you. And this is just spread across any industry. That's a side note, though. Let's get into the next part. And the next part is nobody cares as much as you think they do. Funny, huh? It's kind of cliche. Oh, nobody cares. Of course they care, right? But actually, like deep down inside, nobody actually cares. And so if you have a video that pops off, or if you're blowing up on social media and you feel like you aren't worthy enough to do that, or maybe you just had that good one-off video and you can't seem to get to that point again, and you feel like if you try again, then people will look at you and say, ha, 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 he's not doing it again. I'll tell you what, nobody actually cares as much as you think, right? People are online doom scrolling. And as they doom scroll, things are going in one ear and out the other. Like, it doesn't matter. They'll forget it tomorrow. They'll forget it in an hour. Now that's their problem, which is a good problem to have for them. Your problem is you may have a targeting and comparison issue. Let's get into it. So you have to realize that people don't go on social to see you and judge you. Like, nobody picks up their phone. Oh, let me see what this person's up to. I'm just going to go hate on them for a little bit. I hate their content. I hate them. I'm just going to go, comment laugh emojis on their posts because they suck. Like, nobody, unless they're absolutely insane in the head, nobody actually picks up their phone during the evening time after they just worked a full day's worth of work just to intentionally hate on you specifically. And once you start looking at things like that, you'll realize that, hey, nobody cares. If they see you, they see you. If they don't, whatever. Most of them are literally doom scrolling, waiting for something interesting to pop up. Like, nobody's looking for you in order to hate you and your content or to compare themselves to you. And if they're doing that, by the way, then guess what? That means you're winning. So you maybe kind of sometimes want that because that means you're winning. That aside, they're literally doom scrolling. They don't care what pops up on their feed. As long as it's interesting to them, they'll watch it. So you got to make yourself and your content interesting if you actually want these people to kind of watch you and do something from that content. Like comment, like DM you, work with you, all the good stuff like that. And to dissect this even further, that feeling of imposter that you have usually comes from seeing other realtors succeed. Right? It's not that they're actually succeeding. It just seems like that on social media. Social media is fake. Anybody can make themselves look like they're succeeding online, but who's actually doing it? So what's the fix to stop feeling that imposter syndrome when it comes to seeing other people succeed? Well, that is realizing that most of the perceived success is in numbers and not actual business. And by numbers, I mean likes, comments, shares, saves, metrics like that. Social media is a fake store with a pretty storefront. Imagine that, a fake store, but it has a pretty storefront. Glamour is on the outside, but nothing to be revealed within. Imagine you see a store walking down the road and it's like the most beautiful looking store ever, right? Amazing storefront, looks like it's extremely well done inside, and you want to go in. You're pulled to go in to see what's in that store, only to find out that nothing's really in the store. All they have is, a couple specks of dust over there and a chair over there for you to sit and watch. Nothing happen. Well, that's most realtor social media pages. And I blame that on the traditional old head brokerage advice to hop on Canva, make pretty little graphics, make your page look pretty. That's what'll get sales for you. That's what'll get conversions. I blame them. Like, I blame the old heads for that because they're so stuck in 2006 and it's just a completely different time now. That's beside the point though. Secondly, other realtors are not your target audience. This is more talking about targeting now. A lot of you target other realtors. Huge mistake. They're not your target audience. They shouldn't be your focus, and caring about their opinion is wasted brain activity. Imagine hopping online, making a beautiful video about a property, only for you to care about what other realtors think and only for you to try to target them instead of your actual clientele that will hop in your DMs at one point. The more people that will work with you and the more people that see that will work with you, the more you'll get out of your content. But if you're always so focused on trying to reach other realtors with realtor content, which is a huge mistake, again, you're not only wasting your time, you're not only wasting your effort, sometimes some of you are wasting money, but you're wasting brain activity. Like, brain activity is not something that's cheap. All right, you actually got to protect this right here. And so this is something not to be taken lightly. Here's what it's like. So I have little Jimmy and Walter here, right? They both play basketball. They both practice the same amount. They do the same drills. They have the same skill level. And better yet, they're the best players in their areas. So let's say little Jimmy lives in Texas and let's say Walter lives in Florida. Same attributes, same everything, right? But little Jimmy, he does organized games. And so he impresses the scouts. He gets the opportunities that are bigger than the brag. He's actually learning the game in a controlled setting, and he has an opportunity for career advancement. He will advance his career because he's playing the game the right way in the right place. And he has a plan with what he's doing with this basketball thing, right? Walter, just as skilled as little Jimmy, he's doing pickup basketball. And so he's there to impress friends, to get bragging rights, to have a good time. And there's really no advancement directly related to progression. So they're both good. Only one person is going to get something out of it, or at least get something useful out of it. This is like real estate. Let's say you're little Jimmy. Well, little Jimmy, you would be the one that's actually making content for your ideal customers, for the actual clients that you want to be targeting. You're trying to understand them, what they like, their struggles, their pain points, their desires, and you're making content surrounded by that. You're doing a great job. You're targeting the right people. And then there's Walters out there. There's realtors out there that's just there to impress their friends, have bragging rights, have a good time. Those are the ones who are targeting other realtors. Doesn't make sense because those other realtors are too focused on advancing their career, like little Jimmy, and there's going to be no advancement in their own career. Walter, this isn't a game of impressing other people who really don't care about you in the first place. Who cares about the bragging rights? You hit 100 million sales last year. Great. Who cares? Because there's always going to be a little Jimmy over here actually doing the thing right. Not there to brag, not there to impress anybody, actually giving value and entertainment that their target audience wants and needs to see. Both the same, just went different directions, and they're going to have different outcomes. Be little Jimmy, not Walter. So the third thing I'll tell you is that it's not as hard as you're making it seem, right? All the ideation, the equipment, the systems, it's not as hard once you actually take the time out to learn it. What a lot of you do is actually try to post online without any foundation to what you're posting. Every great business has a foundation. Every great business has a system in place. They don't just wing everything. No, they actually talk about these things. They study it. They're willing to put in the time to learn. They don't care about all the fancy knickknacks if it doesn't actually help them in their business. And other people are so caught up on all of these things that they never even start. Or if they do start, they never continue. They don't have any longevity because they're too focused on immediate gratification. So I've said it before, I'll say it again. You don't need fancy gear or fancy videos. You just need good ideas behind your videos and simple systems for those ideas to reach your target persona. Anybody who tells you otherwise is just straight up lying to you. All it takes is for you to operate in the mindset which leads to better action. That means to follow actual systems. So what's the mindset to operate within now that I've given you all this information? Well, that's for one, you don't have to be the best. You just have to show up. There's a lot of great people who do real estate who are extremely good at their job. There's a lot of great people who do real estate who's extremely good at their job, by the way. As long as there's people online who are willing to give it their all and actually learn content creation and build their brand, they're going to be the ones who end up winning. Why is that? Because they show up. They just show up every day. They show up and meet people where they are, which is online. That's why these everyday guys and girls who become realtors are actually succeeding from the online space. It's because they're the ones showing up. Some people have been in the game for 20 plus years. They've done crazy numbers. But guess what? Nobody's going to know. Nobody's going to care because they aren't showing up like these guys. So to get ahead of a lot of people right off bat, well, that's to actually just show up online. You'll be surprised on how much that one simple thing does for you and your business. Secondly, you can beat out everyone else's success with better strategy. Doesn't matter what you see online, doesn't matter how other people are portraying themselves. Again, this is all about perceived value in entertainment. If you're able to perceive yourself as one of the best or the authority in your niche, and you're able to do it well with systems and strategy behind your content, then you've won. In a world of everything fake, being real automatically gets you ahead. People are able to sniff out others like crazy nowadays based off who's real and who's fake, who's willing to help and who's just there for the dollar, who's putting on a front or a mask, and who's actually giving their authentic selves away to everybody else. The world is fake. There's so many realtors online who are fake. So all you got to do is be real, and you'll find yourself ahead of a lot of other people who simply are just focused on being not real. And I mean be real in the way you walk, the way you talk, the way you create and show up. And you have defeated half of the imposter battle just by doing that. That's the bulletproof mindset for a bulletproof real estate business. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and go beat that imposter syndrome to a pulp. How about that one?